Reading is a term often to describe a person's intelligence, and this could be the key to a successful future. Straight hair that is black, blonde, red, or brown is the only type of hair texture and color that can be accepted into the workplace. On Tuesday, April 6, 2021, in the James L. Bolden Student Union Building Ballroom, Dr. J. Janice Coleman, Professor of English, and Dr. Valtricia Tolliver Cook, Professor of Social Work, hosted National Poetry Month Read-In, starting from 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. The event was originally planned for February. However, due to the weather, they decided to have it in April. Reading is a term often to describe a person's intelligence, and this could be the key to a successful future. Once an everyday necessity, reading has become one of the least options for informative sources for the majority of people. It's scientifically proven that reading boosts your emotional and fluid intelligence and increases your vocabulary. And according to GoodyReader.com, only 28% of Americans read 11 or more books in a year, and 28% proudly admit to not reading even once. With all these great benefits of reading, why don't Americans read more? I asked a few students on the campus of Alcorn State University if they read on their leisure time, why and why not.
I do read if I have to, but on my leisure time I don't like to read only because it's not that interesting to me. I'm more of a creative person, or I like math and science type stuff. But if I have to read in order to learn something, I will. But on a leisure time, no. I have to be really interested to read.
Yeah, I do read and everything. I like the literatures and everything, mainly history and stuff. Talking about the past, I feel like humans, if we can learn from our past, we can grow as better people today. So I like to read history a lot.
I do read because I like to expand my knowledge about not widely talked about topics such as like racist ideas and the construct of where they came from. So I like to read to expand my knowledge in that aspect and also in spirituality. And I find that a lot of books help me to get a better understanding of them.
Dr. Murray Sugars, professor of English and the director of the Alcorn Writing Center, shares his thoughts on people not reading as much anymore.
They read a lot more than we realize because we live in a digital age. I mean, we're reading all the time, but I think we're reading differently than we used to maybe, and that has to do with being in this digital age. So the way that we may be used to reading now is reading things on a surface level, but maybe decades ago, certainly before the digital age, maybe we were reading more deeply and thoughtfully. And I think parents have a lot to do with that. Like, if you raise your children reading stories to them, and then not just reading them, but reading actively, I do suspect that we read differently than we used to, and we need to receive training on that, and it can happen in the home, and it certainly should happen in school.
Frequently passed around tips for getting back into reading is to first identify why you stopped reading, build reading into your schedule, join a group, and set goals. This has been Heather Almekdad reporting for Dogus 30. Straight hair that is black, blonde, red, or brown is the only type of hair texture and color that can be accepted into the workplace. For both men and women, black hair has been policed and disapproved in the workplace. However, in 2016, it was illegal to discriminate against employees with dreadlocks by the federal court. In the same year, young girls wearing afros was expelled from their school, and multiple cases of black women being fired because of their kinky, curly, natural hair, and not on their working quality. As the push for curly, kinky hair texture continues, what must it take for ethnic differences to be accepted into workplace and schools? I asked a few students on the campus of Alcorn State University their opinions on discrimination of natural hair in the workplace.
I love my natural hair. So if my natural hair was not even accepted in the workplace, I honestly wouldn't know what I would do. Natural hair is like the epitome of a black woman. It's our natural hair, and a lot of women are starting to go natural and doing the big chop. And so, of course, over the time and over years, your hair is gonna grow, and I feel like you can make it, professional. I wear a puff all the time, and I always get compliments. Oh, your hair is gorgeous. Your hair is gorgeous. I never looked at somebody and said, oh, your hair is not good. I mean, natural hair is natural hair. It's your natural curl. It's a natural pattern. So for it to not be accepted into a workplace is very discouraging to someone trying to work. And I don't want anybody to tell me what to do with my hair. I don't tell anybody else what to do with their hair. So why should somebody tell me what to do with mine? I feel like that's another controlling aspect people try to have, but that's something you just cannot control. Everybody's hair grows differently, and my hair grows this way, I'm going to flaunt it. So
I don't feel that it's fair that it's not accepted into the workplace, because natural hair is just as beautiful as relaxed hair, and we shouldn't be judged because we have natural hair, because our natural hair is beautiful, period.
Laura Reed gives her insight on how women should be treated in the workplace.
I think women with natural hair should be treated just like any other person in the workplace, because just because they have natural hair doesn't mean they can't get the job done.
July of 2019 is marked as a stepping stone for black hair acceptance in the workplace, where California became the first state to implement the Crown, Create a Respectful and Open Workplace for Natural Hair Act, that bans any discrimination based on natural hairstyles. But there is still much more work to do for black women hairstyles to be more accepted in different areas. This has been Heather Almekdad reporting for Dogus 30. On Tuesday, April 6, 2021, in the James L. Bolden Student Union Building Ballroom, Dr. J. Janice Coleman, Professor of English, and Dr. Valtricia Tolliver-Cook, Professor of Social Work, hosted National Poetry Month read-in, starting from 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. The event was originally planned for February. However, due to the weather, they decided to have it in April. At this event, students and faculty read poems of famous poets or shared self-written poems. Miss Alcorn State University Taya Jackson read Class Song of 1927, which is a farewell from the very first Miss Alcorn State University, Henrine L. Simpkins, who reigned from 1926 to 1927. I talked with Dr. J. Janice Coleman and Dr. Valtricia Tolliver-Cook for more insight on the inspiration towards the program.
Well, we've been doing the African American read-in for 7 years. We do that every year in February, and we weren't able to have it this time, so because of the weather.
Most of the topics of the poems represented blackness, black culture, and police brutality, with a few topics on being a social worker, general inspiration, and music appreciation. This has been Heather Almekdad reporting.